Are you putting your life at risk every time you get behind the wheel? Most drivers think they're being careful, but over 60% of teen crash deaths happen during one key driving mistake, and it's not what you think. Stay tuned to uncover 9 essential car rules you need to know to protect yourself and everyone else on the road. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Did you know that over half of teen crash deaths happen during nighttime hours between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m.? It sounds shocking, but the reality is, driving at night poses risks that even seasoned drivers struggle to manage. Let's break it down, because understanding why nighttime driving is so dangerous could save your life. First, reduced visibility is an obvious but underestimated problem. Darkness limits how far you can see and can significantly impact your depth perception. It's not just about dim surroundings. The glare from headlights, streetlights, or reflective surfaces can make it even harder to gauge speed, distance, and obstacles. Road signs become more difficult to read, pedestrians are nearly invisible, and sudden hazards like an animal darting onto the road leave you with far less time to react. Even with high-beam headlights, which extend visibility up to 500 feet, that still gives you just a few seconds to respond at highway speeds. For newer drivers, who may already struggle with judging distances and making quick decisions, these challenges are amplified. Then there's fatigue. Our bodies naturally wind down at night, thanks to our internal circadian rhythm. Fatigue impacts reaction times, impairs judgment, and can even sneak up on you without warning. Studies show drowsy driving is akin to driving under the influence in terms of impairment. For younger drivers especially, it's easy to say, "I'm fine," without realizing their responses are already slowed. Combine that with a long day at school, work, or social activities, and the perfect storm of exhaustion sets in. Even experienced drivers face challenges that make nighttime one of the most perilous times to be on the road. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the risk of fatal crashes triples at night compared to daylight hours. The issue isn't just that visibility is worse or that drivers are more tired. Night driving seems deceptively calm. Roads might feel quieter, so people let their guard down, speeding up without realizing the added risk or overestimating their vehicle's handling in poor lighting. This false sense of security is one reason the crash rate is disproportionately high during nighttime. There's a reason so many states have implemented restrictions for teens under graduated driver's license (GDL) laws. Take Florida, for example. Teen drivers with a learner's permit aren't allowed on the road after 10 p.m. A rule aimed to minimize their exposure to these heightened nighttime dangers. But these laws aren't foolproof. Exceptions for work-related travel or lax enforcement mean that not every young driver follows these curfews, and statistics show the consequences can be devastating. Inexperienced drivers simply don't have the skills yet to handle the reduced visibility and slower reaction times that nighttime requires. The science behind these risks is clear. Driving drowsy reduces alertness, slows decision-making, and impairs coordination. In fact, research suggests being awake for 18 hours straight is comparable to having a blood alcohol concentration of 0.05%. That's enough to make routine tasks like judging how far away a car is or braking smoothly much harder, and the mistakes can be deadly. So, what can you do to stay safe? First, avoid driving at night whenever possible, especially if you know you're tired or unfamiliar with the route. If nighttime driving is unavoidable, make adjustments. Reduce your speed to give yourself more time to react. Clean and properly align your headlights to maximize visibility, since even slight misalignments can create dangerous blind spots. And avoid distractions like messing with the radio or checking your phone. Your focus needs to be sharper at night than during the day. Most drivers think they're leaving enough space between their car and the one in front. But are you? Following too closely is one of the most common mistakes on the road, and breaking the 3-second rule could cost you your life. Let's look at why this one simple habit is so critical, and why so many drivers fail to follow it. The 3-second rule is straightforward. You should leave enough space between your car and the car ahead so that it takes at least 3 seconds to reach a fixed object after the vehicle in front of you passes it. For example, pick a sign or a light pole along the road. When the vehicle in front goes by it, start counting. 1001, 1002, 1003. If you reach that marker before finishing the count, you're too close. But here's the problem. Most drivers either don't know this rule or only follow it under perfect conditions. And that's where the real danger begins. Many people misjudge how much space they need, especially in high-speed situations or bad weather. Consider this. At highway speeds of 70 miles per hour, your car is traveling over 100 feet every second. If the car in front of you slams on the brakes, how long do you think it will take to react? A typical driver has a reaction time of about 1 second. By the time you even begin to move your foot toward the brake, you've already traveled the length of a basketball court. If you're tailgating, there's simply no room left to stop in time, and that's when rear-end collisions happen. These accidents aren't just fender benders either. They can lead to serious injuries or fatalities depending on the speed of impact. So how do you make the 3-second rule a habit? Start by actively practicing on the road. Pick a fixed object, count 1001, 1002, 1003, and check whether you're maintaining the right gap from the car in front. If not, ease off the accelerator to adjust. The key is consistency. Apply this rule every time you drive until it becomes automatic. And remember, on highways, it's better to err on the side of caution. Extending the gap to 4 or even 5 seconds can provide extra time to react, especially when traffic is moving fast or unpredictably. Rear-end collisions are some of the most preventable accidents, yet they make up a large portion of crashes every year. Following the 3-second rule is one of the easiest ways to reduce your risk dramatically. It's more than just a guideline. It's a life-saving habit that can protect you and everyone else on the road. Driving is full of variables you can't always control, but maintaining a proper following distance, that one is entirely up to you. Texting, eating, even adjusting the radio. These seemingly harmless actions kill thousands of drivers every year. Distracted driving is one of the most dangerous habits on the road, and the worst part is, most drivers don't even realize they're guilty of it. So, what exactly is distracted driving? More than just using your phone, it refers to anything that takes your attention away from the road. Eating fast food on the go, applying makeup at a red light, fiddling with your GPS, or even blaring loud music. These are all examples. If it divides your focus, it's a distraction, and distractions can be deadly. The numbers don't lie. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, distracted driving is responsible for more than 3,000 deaths in the U.S. each year. That's over 3,000 lives that could have been saved by one simple change: paying attention to the road. The most alarming part? Many drivers don't recognize how serious the problem is. A quick glance at your phone screen feels harmless, but during that split second, everything on the road can change. Someone ahead might brake suddenly, a cyclist could appear out of nowhere, or a child might dart across the street. It only takes a moment for a routine trip to turn into a tragedy. Let's put this into perspective with a scenario. Imagine you're driving on a clear, sunny day. Traffic flows smoothly, and your phone buzzes with a notification. It's instinctive. You pick it up without even thinking. While you're reading that text, your car is traveling at 60 miles per hour. In the 5 seconds it takes to read and respond, you've covered the length of a football field completely blind to what's happening around you. Now imagine if the car in front of you stopped unexpectedly, or a pedestrian entered a crosswalk. In this situation, those 5 seconds could mean the difference between a close call and a tragedy. That's the reality of distracted driving. It feels small in the moment, but the consequences are enormous. The psychological impact of even a brief distraction while driving can't be overstated. Studies show that taking your eyes off the road for just 2 seconds doubles your risk of a crash. The Florida Law Group emphasizes how even something as simple as sending a text drastically reduces your reaction time, leaving you unable to respond to sudden changes in traffic. Unlike other driving mistakes, distractions often happen without you realizing how dangerous they are until it's too late. And it's not just your eyes. When your mind wanders, whether you're daydreaming or focused on a podcast, you're no longer fully engaged with driving. That mental split delays your response to hazards, and at highway speeds, delayed reactions are rarely forgiving. Teen drivers are especially vulnerable to the dangers of distraction. Inexperience behind the wheel, combined with distractions like texting or talking to passengers, increases the chances of a collision significantly. The Florida Law Group points out that teens are not only more easily distracted, but also more prone to speeding and making critical errors. Add in the fact that distractions for younger drivers often include social media or streaming apps, activities that demand visual and mental focus, and it becomes clear why this group is so at risk. This makes targeted education about distractions a crucial step in keeping teen drivers safe. So how do you eliminate distractions and stay focused? Start with the biggest culprit, your phone. Turn on Do Not Disturb while driving, Or better yet, put your phone out of reach altogether. For calls or directions, switch to hands-free options like Bluetooth, but only if you set it up before you start driving. Another tip? Pull over if you need to eat, adjust settings in your car, or take a phone call. Multitasking might feel efficient, but it's not worth your safety. Keeping essential items like water or sunglasses within easy reach can also prevent those little moments of distraction where you take your eyes off the road. Distracted driving is entirely preventable, but it takes active effort. The next time you feel tempted to check your phone or adjust the radio, think about what's at stake: the lives of your passengers, other drivers, and even yourself. These small decisions can have life-changing consequences. Distractions are just one part of the equation, though. What if the worst happens and you find yourself in an accident? Coming up next, we'll talk about the one rule that could protect you legally and save you from making a bad situation even worse. Driving isn't just about controlling a vehicle. It's about protecting everyone around you. Every second you're on the road, you're making decisions that could save lives or change them forever. As the Lawyers That Listen explains, car accidents are unexpected events that can arise when those on the road fail to take the proper precautions they should. Start applying these rules today. Share this video with a teen driver or someone who needs a reminder that safety matters. The road is only as safe as the people who use it, and knowledge is your most powerful tool behind the wheel.